Okay, well, she would know what she's talking about. This is Dr. Maryam Mahanian. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Now, we've been talking about this all morning, is that when people go and they see these Chinese herbs in the windows or in the stores and they want to know what they're all about, you are in acupuncture and Chinese medicine. You work at the clinic here in Vancouver. These are highly effective treatments for many different ailments, aren't they?
Amazing treatments. And the great thing is that there are no side effects when prescribed under a qualified Chinese medicine doctor.
Okay, so coming up a little later, we're going to talk about curing or having to deal with specific ailments, but right now we're going to take a look at the 8 most commonly used herbs.
I would say these are the 8 most common in a clinic setting, and these you would find at any Chinese herbal store.
Okay.
First, we'll start with ginseng, which most people are, familiar with.
Right, and this is what it actually looks like? Because most people are used to taking it sort of in the pill form, the powder, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So this is, in Chinese, we call it ren shen. This is the more expensive ginseng that actually is not that commonly used in clinic anymore.
Why is that?
Because it is quite expensive, so you'd use it in a special case, like for example when somebody's recovering from a serious illness like cancer or AIDS, and it's quite a special
okay, what does ginseng do for you?
Well, ginseng actually is a very powerful tonic, and there have been many scientific studies that address the actions of ginseng. It's also very good to adapt, helps your body to adapt to stress.
Right.
Very good for fatigue, for weakness, cold body, things like that.
It's interesting how in the last 15 years it seems that everybody has embraced many aspects of Chinese medicine, with ginseng sort of leading the forefront on that.
Yes, and ginseng can be used alone and also in combination with other herbs.
Okay.
And that's the thing with Chinese herbal medicine, is that it's usually prescribed in a formula. So many herbs combined together, working for the specific individual.
And that sounds like that would take a lot of patience, which you were saying a lot of people don't have.
Well, today's world, no, I wouldn't say so. Especially, I deal with more people in sort of the downtown core, executives and whatnot, so they don't want to deal with having to boil these herbs and make a decoction, is what we call it. So instead, in the clinic, I would give capsules or a concentrated powder that you would just mix with hot water. So there are other methods used.
All right, and what's this next one here?
So this next one is astragalus root, and a lot of people have heard of that as well. It's very good to boost the immune system. In Chinese, we call it huang qi. And this also it's actually not used alone very commonly. It's used in combination with other herbs. Very good for allergies, common colds. Also helps your body to adapt to stress like the ginseng does.
Okay, and what would you do with that?
Again, you would boil it in a mixture with the other herbs combined.
Okay, and this one here?
So you don't actually eat these alone or chew them or anything like that, like most people may think.
No, but this is, as you say, a combination of, and we're going to talk about that and how they're used a little bit later, right? So what's this one here?
The next one is dried tangerine peel.
Oh, really?
Yes, and we call it...
just throw that away, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. And that's actually very good for digestion, for nausea, vomiting, poor appetite, abdominal bloating. And it's used in combination with other herbs that are very heavy and sticky to help you break down the other herbs.
Oh, I see. And they still smell pretty good, too.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all.
You get used to them.
And this looks like ginger.
That's actually licorice root.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and it helps the body to detoxify. Again, it's very common in Chinese herbal medicine.
Okay, and this here?
The next one is angelica root, or dangui, we call it in Chinese. And that's the most important herb for women. So very good for PMS, for menstrual cramps, regulating the period. It has mild estrogenic effects, so it regulates the uterine contractions to help with pain.
You're starting to see a bit more of this in drugstores and stuff now too, aren't you? This is becoming more popular.
You can find that alone, yeah.
And can you take that on its own, sort of in the powdered form, in pills?
You could, but again, in traditional Chinese medicine, that's not that common.
Is that frustrating for you? Because people must try it and then it doesn't work for them, and then they just miss the whole idea of having it work for them.
Exactly. And also, a lot of people self-prescribe, which is a big no-no.
Okay.
You have to seek the advice of a Chinese medicine doctor and a qualified Chinese medicine doctor.
Because you're probably not taking this properly.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you have to start at sort of a small dose, see how your body reacts. Just because this is natural medicine does not mean it's free of side effects.
Okay, and this one here?
That's called fuling. That's actually a fungus. It's called poria, and that helps with water retention, helps to promote urination. Again, it has many functions, so again, we're not going to go into all of it.
Right.
even calms the nervous system down, so helps with insomnia.
Oh, lots of good things there. Okay, and then the final two, what's this one here?
The next one is hawthorn berry, very good for high blood pressure, coronary artery disease, helps your body to break down meat and fatty foods.
Okay, and then this one?
And the last one is gochidza, we call it, or wolfberry fruit, and that helps vision. Blurred vision, dizziness, even helps with impotence and lower body weakness.
All sorts of interesting stuff in there.
Yeah, so many different things.
Okay, so now you know what they are. Coming up a little bit later, you're going to actually show us or tell us about how you would combine these things for specific ailments as well, right? So don't go anywhere. It is 9:25. It's 9:36. It's Wednesday. You're watching Breakfast Television. Dr. Maryam Mahanian is back with us because we're talking about Chinese herbal remedies and how they can cover all sorts of different ailments, right?
Yes.
If people are patient and do this properly.
Yes, they have to do their homework.
They have to do their homework. Okay, so what's this first one that we've got here?
So I picked 4 very common ailments to talk about.
Okay.
Chinese medicine treats so many various ailments, but first one would be common cold, treating, for example, sore throat, feverishness, headache, body aches, nasal congestion.
Okay, so what do we have in here, though?
This is a combination of about 8 herbs. For example, one of the herbs is honeysuckle flower, which is this one here.
That little tiny, the little green. This one here? This, like that's?
Yeah, that's the same.
Oh, okay.
And then we have forsythia fruit here. There's a lot of different things in there.
What would you do with this? Even if you had this combination of 8 herbs, what do you do?
So, you go to the herbal store, they give you about 7 of these. So that's 7 days. So what you do is you just take a pot, you soak these herbs with water, then you bring it to a boil, you simmer for about 30 minutes, then you strain the liquid out.
Okay.
Then using the herbs that are still in the pot, you do that again, and you strain it into the first cup again.
Okay.
So basically you end up with this.
This liquid that you've got right here?
It sort of looks like that, yeah.
But more than that, right? Because how much water are you putting in the pot?
You'll end up with about 2 times that.
Okay, and what am I supposed to do with that?
And that's going to be 1 day of your herbs.
Yeah, so you have to boil them twice to get a cup of liquid, and then that's your that's 1 day.
That's your dose. And then the Chinese medicine doctor will tell you, depending on the person, they'll say, oh, take, the whole dose at once, or they say, take at separate times throughout the day.
Okay.
But this is great for when you just start to feel a little bit of a tingly in your throat, or it's
right at the
hard
very
to swallow.
beginning.
Yeah,
okay.
It works great. It's within a day.
Really?
From my experience.
But you have to have the patience to go to get all this, to do the proper combination of...
Yeah, it's great if you can do this, but there are other options. For example, you can use the powders. We have the powder right here.
Right.
And all you do is you boil water and you add the powder to the water. You drink it like a herbal tea.
That's
so it's really
good.
easy, and it's just as effective as as this.
But you have to go see somebody to get that as well. Okay,
and
now...
oh, sorry.
Okay, I was going to say, earlier we take a look at this one, which was a very interesting combination of herbs.
Yes.
What is that for?
So this is great for skin disorders, and that includes acne, includes eczema, psoriasis. So there are a few different herbs in there, like the cicada, which is a little bit scary. That's really...
They are a little bit scary there.
I understand that.
Okay.
This is very good for itchiness of the skin, which is common in eczema and psoriasis especially.
Right.
We have Rehmania root.
That was that dark piece of...
Yeah, it's not what you find on the roof of your house.
Unfortunately, you were listening to Dave then, were you? That's too bad.
That's very good for redness of the skin, clearing away toxins from the body. There's quite a few different ones. This yellowish bark here is actually a root. It's skullcap root, and that's very good for weeping skin with eczema. You'll end up getting some blisters.
Right.
That's very good for that.
Okay, so again, how would you take this?
Same thing. You boil it, and you take the liquid. And
is there also a powdered version of that?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Absolutely.
To know. Okay, and this one over here.
So that's a great combination for PMS.
Oh, okay.
PMS and also painful menstruation and irregular menstruation.
Right. What is this?
That one there is Chinese lovage root.
Okay.
And that's very good for stimulating blood circulation. So excellent for cramps. very good for irritability as well, emotional depression, things like that.
Okay, and again,
So-
same way to take that is that you put them all together and
Exactly,
boil?
and there is the powder and capsule version of that.
Okay, but you can't just buy that at the drugstore.
Exactly. So you have to see a Chinese medicine doctor. They do a full medical history with you. They check your pulse, they check your tongue, and they come up with a prescription that's individualized. And that's
Right.
why it's so effective. And the whole point of Chinese medicine is that it treats the root cause of the problem in order to provide a permanent solution.
Right, like you may need more, slightly more of one herb than another, so the general
Exactly.
version might not be the best thing for you.
Exactly. The dosages are very, very important. And of course, it takes time, especially for PMS. You may need to do this for about 2-3 months.
Before you start to see some kind of results.
Yeah, but that will be permanent.
Oh.
Yeah.
It'll be permanent after
Exactly.
that. Okay, and then finally, what do we have up
So
there?
that's very good for hay fever allergies.
Oh.
So it opens up the nasal orifices, it opens up the head and the throat. So,
Well, what do we have in there?
so for one thing, you have the huang qi, which is astragalus root, and that
Right.
boosts the immune system, so it increases white blood cells.
Okay.
With allergies, there is an immune deficiency involved. You have magnolia flower. and
That's the
this
big
is-
buds that you've got
Yeah,
there.
and that's in Chinese we call it Xin Yi Hua.
Okay.
That's very good for nasal congestion.
Okay, that's good. And again, with the allergy one, do you still have to take that only for a little while and then it seems to work, or is that constant?
That one is great to take before the allergy season comes and then during.
Right.
So usually you would need to take it for about a season and then your problem is pretty much resolved. But of course everything is
Subject
dependent
to
on
change.
and everything is so individual. You know, there may be a lot of other things going on, so it's very hard to say exactly how long it will take to work.
Right. Well, Dr. Mahanian, that has been fascinating this morning, so people should definitely seek more advice on that. They want more questions or have more questions, they can check out our website, citytv.com/BT Vancouver. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
joining us this morning. Let's get back